All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about the passive voice, one of the most important grammar topics in English. So before I start talking, I would like to ask you guys if you know what it is. First, how many? So let me tell you, try to be active. Okay, the more you interact, the more you answer the questions and type in the chat, the more you will learn. If you just sit there and listen to me, you will not actually learn something big. I'm new practice English. Okay, that's great. So make sure you're active. So I have this question: how many voices do we have in English? I mean grammatically, not like voices about singers. Voices about grammar. How many voices do we have? Plural and singular. Nope. There is two, I think. Active and passive. Okay, thank you, Yasser. Two. So far, I only know two because there are only two. That's why you only know two. That's right. Hello, two. I cannot go to the. Okay, two. Exactly three. Oh, Brown said three. Okay, why three? Why two? Okay, wait. So why three? Why two? Active and passive. Exactly. We have active and passive. It's not about plural or singular. Active and passive. So we have the active voice, we have the passive voice. Okay, I have new questions now. What is the active voice? What is the difference? Today we are going to learn, Price. Today we will learn the difference. First, okay. No, active voice. What is the active voice? What do we mean? Can you give me some examples? Million thanks for YouTube. Renewing thanks for your valuable time and contribution towards. You're welcome, Khalid Yunus. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Agatha. The object and the noun. The object, okay, like what? What's your name? Laliv. Could you give me an example? Thank you. Thank you very much. The order of that. The object and the noun. Okay, the subject do the thing. She beats me. Okay. No, that's all good. Thank you, Agatha. Thanks. So let's see some examples here. So when the sentence has the following structure, it is considered active. When you have this pattern, order, formula, you can name it whatever you like. When you have subject, then you have the verb, then the object, and the others, like every other thing. For example, Sarah plays soccer. So Sarah, subject, plays verb, object, soccer. Sarah plays soccer. LeBron James is an NBA player. Simon Baker is an actor. Jack washes his car. Somebody has stole my wallet. These are some active sentences, and we can say in our actually daily routine in spoken English, we use them a lot. Anytime, sure. So this is the active voice. And we're not going to talk about it since you already know this. But what is the passive voice? Like, imagine there is a, I don't know, 10 years old kid asking you about this topic. Okay, so, okay, what is the passive voice? How would you explain this to him or her in simple words, like really simple? He's only 10. Subject and the object, we sub the order. When we focus and emphasize on the object, that is passive voice, if you don't complete your homework, okay, that's the key point of the sentence. Okay, Khalid, okay, that's okay. What about the others? Others are typing 2, around 50 students. Let's see. So for those who have just joined, welcome first. And we're going to learn the passive voice. Right now we're talking about what it is. When the focus is on the work than the doer. Okay, thank you. The object first. Okay, Khalid, okay. Amelia is typing, others are typing. Yeah, mostly you're saying what you're saying is correct. Like object first, or focus shifts to the receiver of the action. Okay, okay. Yeah, all good. So when the subject is either unknown, so we have some keywords here. When it's either unknown, unimportant, or not mentioned. Another reason I will tell you. Or when the focus, as you said, when the focus of the sentence is on the object. Like you are emphasizing, focusing, bolding, whatever you do, on the object. That's when the passive voice comes up. So we have a structure here. Firstly, we have actually 3 to 4 types of tenses, like some kind of categories, if you want to do that. For example, as you know, we have simple tenses, we have simple continuous tenses, we have perfect tenses, and we have perfect continuous tenses. And we can use present simple, past simple, future simple, and so on for others. So let's talk about passive in simple tenses. Like we have some formulas. But before we move to the formulas, I want to write something. I would say, for example, let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this sentence. Somebody stole my wallet. So let me also highlight it so you can see it. Could you tell me what the subject of this sentence is? What is the subject of this sentence? Can you show an example? Yes. Simple. Receiver is the object. Mostly. We cannot say exactly they are the same, but mostly. It can be a thing or a person. Valid, my valid, somebody. No, what is the actually subject of this sentence? Not the passive, this sentence. Somebody. Exactly. Somebody. Okay. So this is the subject. Thank you. Let me write it. What is the verb of this sentence? Stole. Okay. Stole. And what is the object of this sentence? Valid. Okay. So subject, verb, object. This is an active sentence since we have the same pattern here. Okay, now who can change it into the passive voice? Can you change this sentence to the passive voice? Like, how would you do that? What would be the answer? My wallet was stolen by somebody. Valid, no, not valid. My wallet, has been. Why has been? My wallet has been. My wallet was. So, for example, Moonmi from India says my wallet was stolen. Okay, where is the somebody? Where is the word somebody in this sentence? What happened to it? My wallet was stolen by somebody. Okay. Exactly. Okay, it's unknown, but so for example, let me write it in, I don't know, orange. So my wallet was, because it's past simple, was stolen by somebody. Now I have a question. What is the subject of this sentence? This one. What is the subject of this sentence? Was can't with verb, I guess. Was can't. We have was can't. It can be hidden. Okay. My wallet was stolen. Why it can't be has been? Because it's not present perfect. Has been stolen. Price is present perfect. But in the active sentence, we have past simple. You cannot change the tense of the active voice if you are changing it to the passive. The tenses should be and must be the same. My valid, or somebody. So which one? Somebody or, you're welcome, somebody or my valid. Some people say, okay, somebody is the subject. Some people say, no, my valid is the subject. Somebody, Which one? Others are typing 2. Okay, please make sure you're active. Make sure you're interacting with our classes. So again, my wallet is a subject. Again, in this sentence, the object becomes a subject. And here we have the object here. We can also call it indirect object. So some students, I don't know why, they say somebody is the subject because it was the subject, but it was. When you change it, you bring the object here, so it becomes your new subject. This is an important part. But okay, we have an example. My car was stolen. I don't know, my car was repaired. Something like that. So we have the simple tense. Look at this part. Passive in simple tense, like simple past, simple present, simple future. Or future simple, or something like that. So you use the object of the active your sentence. For example, my car was stolen, so somebody stole my car, so my car. Then you can use modal verb. It's optional, totally up to you. If you would like, if you think you need modal verb, then use it. If so, here we consider not using it. Then you use am, is, are for present, was, were for the past, and for future we use will be. Future is not mentioned in this PDF because it is considered actually upper intermediate, but this PDF is tailored for intermediate students. But we will talk. So you can use will be. Then you use the past participle of the verb. Like you say go, you say went, gone. We need the gun. We don't need go. Or steal, stole, stolen. The third form, the past participle form of the verb. For example, I would say my phone, I don't want to use it. So I want to talk about the past. So was repaired, or let's say fixed, by an IT man, for example. Passive in simple tenses. Let me see if you have any questions. The office is clean every day. Very good, because it's passive. Yes, in passive. Okay, yes. Modal verbs. Some like can, could, will, would, may, might. I don't know, shall, should. These are modal verbs. They add something, some actually extra information to your sentence. Like if you use can, you talk about abilities mostly. If you use, I don't know, for example, should. Verb PP, past participle. PP means past participle. Like for example, go, went, gone. We need gone. Steal, stole, stolen. Speak, spoke, spoken, or something like that. We call it the third form of the verb to. Imperfect tense. For example, use now what, for example, Price said, my car has been stolen. So here, my car has been, we use the been because you have to use be. Okay? So my car has been, I don't know, has been stolen. Something like that. Continuous. So when we use the continuous form, we are talking about something in action. Like there is a period of time. We're talking about something progressive that we need to talk about the duration of that. So we say being. My car is being. My car was being. I don't know. The cars were being, will be being, or something like that. Again, we use the past participle. We have some examples. Someone asked for an example, so here we go. The pizza is eaten by David. My car was stolen last night. A mistake was made. We are invited to a party. Her bag had been stolen before we arrived. Okay, we had some example. We talked about the structures. Now I would like to ask you, like all 47 students, to make your own examples. Okay, it can be, I don't know, funny, serious, whatever you do, it's totally okay, even meaningless, but grammatically it should be correct. So please start writing 1 or 2 passive sentences and send it in the chat. Okay, some examples. So yes, past participle makes sense. So participle. What do you like in this context? What is do you mean? What do you? Here do is an auxiliary verb. do, does, did. It's an auxiliary verb when you would like to ask someone some regular verbs or irregular verbs. You ask with do, does, did. What do you like? It's like you're asking about his interests or something like that. The body was hidden already. The body was already hidden. But okay, a car beat me. No, that's not passive. I was, for example, like the race had been won by me. Okay, mostly you can say I won the race, but okay, my dog was bitten by another dog at the park. I proposed a girl, but she said no. Okay, but it's not passive. You can say she was proposed by me or something like that. Their house was built by my dad. Build is irregular. Built. Replace D with T. This piece of art was painted by my brother. Okay. I had been working. Yes. The tuna. Without O. Tuna. The tuna was eaten by my cat. Okay. Good. And others, like if you would like, write, we will read it later. But there's a question. Okay, maybe you're asking yourself and wondering, okay, I have learned the structure. I also made an example. And I know the difference between active and passive, but why should I use this? Or when should I use this grammar topic? You know the structure, but you don't know when. So when should we use this? Nimafar said, or, yeah. The president has been elected. I have been listening to Kanye West. I have been listening. No, that's not. That's actually present perfect continuous. I have been listening. That's not passive. They have been homework. No. Sir, I somehow mix between the. Okay, so have and has for present perfect. Have for you, we, they. But has for she, he, it, and names. And had is past perfect. Okay? That's where we use it. So when, guys, when do we use this grammar topic? When we want to emphasize the subject. No, emphasize the object. But that is present. When we can. We use it when we can. Okay, that was good. What are the others? Let's see if they know. I mean, should we have some specific scenarios or situations, or no, we can just simply use it everywhere with every concept, with every verbs. When we want to, okay, besides that. Okay, besides that. To describe what? The bag was gone. The bag was gone. When we. Okay, so let's see it together. There are three main reasons why we use the passive voice. Besides that, the fact that you want to emphasize on the subject, there are three main reasons why we use the passive voice. Firstly, when we don't know the subject. Like, my car was stolen. Who has stolen it? I don't know. Somebody stole my car. I don't know who has stolen it, so I use the passive voice. Because I don't know here, actually we are not emphasizing on the subject, on the object, because we don't have any subject, so we have to talk about the object. You don't have a subject, so you have to talk about the object. When you don't know, like someone stole my car. My car was stolen. Two, when the subject is not important. Sometimes you know the subject. Okay, wait. When the subject is not important. Exactly. For example, a movie. Imagine, for example, Spider-Man. Someone directed that kind of movie. Maybe you know his name or her name. But you're talking about the movie itself. Or let me tell you, when you don't care about the subject, When you don't care about a subject, you care about the object. Here we can say you emphasize on the object. A noun. How do I write it? A noun. Yes, that's correct. So when you don't care, when it's not important. And thirdly, mostly we don't have the third one in intermediate books. Mostly you can find it in advanced actually books. But here, when we want to avoid the responsibility we were given, and or we don't want others to know about the subject. Maybe you think, okay, what does it mean? So imagine you are the president of your own country. You are the president, and you have made a mistake. You've made a big mistake. Billions of dollars are lost because of your fault. Well, there's going to be a press conference. Of course, you will not say, I made a mistake as the president. I made a mistake and billions of dollars are lost. You would never say that because for the next term, you will definitely not become the president again. So you want to, in English say, keep something under the rug. You want to keep it under the rug. You want to hide it. You want to keep it as a secret. But in this case, the subject is important. The person who lost billions of dollars, of course, is important. And you know the subject. It's you, yourself. So you know the subject. The subject is important. So for number one, number two, both of them are important here. But you don't want others to know about it. You don't want the people know about that situation. So you say a mistake was made. A mistake was made. So that's how we do. That's how businessmen and politicians use and speak. So when you want to avoid the responsibility or you don't want others to know about the subject. Generally, now again back to your sentences. In the passive voice, the focus is on the object of the active sentence. David washed the car yesterday. The car was washed yesterday by David. So subject, David, object, the car. But let me ask you something. Can we make passive sentences with all tenses we have in English? Like we have, I don't know, lots of verbs in English. Can we make passive with every one of them? Like with cry, with laugh, with run. Is it possible? Okay, for example, I cried. How do you make it to passive price? I cried. She laughed. As long as it is transitive. Okay. Not for action. Do you mean we cannot have passive with non-action words? For example, the suspect was seen and, I don't know, for example, on the street. So we can, it was a follow policy which, yeah, so again, so you try to convince it. Back to what I said earlier. I cried. Okay, no, make it passive. How do you make it passive? Complete sentence. We should have okay, what do you mean by complete sentence? Let's talk about this. So I have cried. Is it passive? I have cried. So let's see. Laliv, I think. Laliv. So what do you mean by complete sentence? What does it mean? Complete sentence. It can be I have cried. Okay, so I cried. Past simple. I have cried. Past perfect. I have laughed. No, it has subject, verb, and object. So you mean I cry. It is not a complete sentence. It is not a clause. She's typing. Then we should have the object. Okay, first let me tell you this one. Maybe you're getting it wrong. So we have some clauses in English. Clause. What is a clause? Before we talk about this, what is a clause? Clause. What is a clause in English? How do you define? How do you explain a clause? Just a sentence, any kind of sentence? Independent and dependent clauses, very good, but what is it? What is it, Ladiv? What is a clause? How do you explain a clause? The reason, no, A condition? Nope. We have conditional clauses, but not necessarily all clauses are conditionals. Phrase? Nope. Subject and verb. So Billy, vary the object. Let's talk about Billy's. Depend on a verb? Nope. So Billy, what is? So varies the object. Billy said subject and verb. So vary the object. A group of words which deliver information. What group of words? What kinds of words do we have? So Billy said something nice. I don't know if she's or he's typing. So subject and verb, exactly. We define a clause by this. A clause is a combination of a subject and a verb. That's a clause. I go, she goes. I don't know, I cry, you cry. That's a clause. So not necessarily all clauses have objects because of this. Transitive and intransitive. So as we said, I cry. You cannot make changes to passive. Like how? Cried by me? Doesn't make sense. Sentence. Well, so here, okay, let's talk about Max question. Well, a sentence could be actually made by one independent clause, like I go to school every day. This is an independent clause. Or a combination of like two or more like dependent and independent, or two dependent clauses. So dependent clause or clauses will form a sentence. For example, in relative clauses you say, the person who is wearing a red hat is my teacher, for example. Independent clauses, yes, it can be both dependent and independent. Exactly, yeah, we have dependent and independent. We have two types of it. Dependent, yeah, dependent is not complete. For example, in relative clauses, the person who is wearing a red hat. So, okay, the person who is wearing a red hat. You're expecting me to complete my sentence. You're waiting for more information. So that's dependent. Don't speak in the library. It's a clause, yes. So basically, it's actually an imperative clause. So basically, a clause is subject plus verb. No, phrase. Phrase is a smaller. Like it's shorter and smaller. It's something else. Okay? But clause, subject plus verb. But wait. We are not talking about clauses. Just introduce clauses to you. Now tell me. Now I have this question. Can we use the passive voice with all verbs in English? Like laugh, like cry, like, I don't know, sleep, like anything. Can we? Yes, no. Dependent clauses cannot be a complete sentence. Exactly. That's why we call them dependent. They need and they depend on other sentences. Apparently, no. They are irregular. No, it's not about irregular. No. Yes, we call them imperative clause. The ruler light. We call them imperative, like it's like a command order. For example, I don't know, your teacher says, "Don't speak in the library." She or he is commanding you, is ordering you, giving orders. We call it imperative. Okay, of course, we cannot make passive with all tenses. Some verbs are transitive, means they do need an object, like cook. I cook. You cook what? I cook pizza. I cook, I don't know, rice. I eat. You eat what? I eat a cheeseburger, something like that. While others don't need objects. Like I sleep. I sleep what? I sleep. That's all. I sleep. We cannot make passive with intransitive verb. Intransitive means no object. Let me write it better. No object. Intransitive. So when you have no object, and all of you said when we focus on the object, we use the passive. So how do you want to focus on the object when there is no object? You have no object, so how do you want to emphasize on something that doesn't exist? So we don't make passive sentences with these intransitive verbs. Some transitive word like eat. I ate the sandwich. You can ask yourself, what do, does, the, depending on the tense. What do, subject, verb. For example, I ate the sandwich. What did you eat? If you have an answer, it's transitive. If you don't have an answer, it's intransitive. For example, I ate the sandwich. What did you eat? A sandwich or the sandwich. She wrote a letter. What did she write? A letter. He threw the ball. What did he throw? The ball. We read the book. What did you read? The book. And something like that. She painted. They sang a song. He bought. So here we have irregular. He bought, sang. I don't know, here, read, wrote, threw. So we can use with irregulars too. But some intransitives, like walk. He walked to the store. Can we say, what did he walk? What do you mean? What did he walk? She laughed at the joke. What did she laugh? Is it okay? What did she laugh? They slept on the couch. What did she sleep? What did they sleep? He cried after the movie. What did he cry? You have no answers. He swims every day. What does he swim? What does it mean? What does he swim? He swims. So you have no answers. Therefore, you cannot make it. We need independent. Only English. Yes, please keep it English. Here, I see the exchange. Makes sense now. What did you wash? Yes, I washed the dishes. Exactly. So, what about the verb run? Run. Is it transitive or intransitive? Yes, run, run, run. Okay. Is it transitive or intransitive? Intransitive. Transitive. Price is transitive. Okay. If it is transitive, make a passive sentence. If it is transitive, make a sentence with run. Price says it's transitive. Okay, let's see. I run every day. Okay, make this passive. Limbo. Price. Price. He ran into my house. Make it a passive. My house was run into by him. Intransitive. What about this? What does it mean? What does it mean? I run a company. What does it mean? Does it mean I run like you sprint? What is run? Being performed on. So what is the active form of this? My dog was ran down. No. Run like control. Very good. Very good. Here, run like control. I control a company. I manage a company. So run is both transitive and intransitive. It depends on the meaning. If you mean as launching, managing, administrating, controlling, I don't know, something like that, moderating, then it's transitive. She runs multiple companies. Multiple companies are run by her. Here, it doesn't mean she walks fast, she runs, she sprints, she jogs. No, it means she controls. She is a CEO of multiple companies. So multiple companies are run by him or by her. No, interesting. Yes, that's it. So it depends on the meaning. If you mean sprinting, intransitive. If you mean launching, managing, transitive. Conjugation. So the verb be. So in simple tenses, we use am, is, or, and was verb. Like my wallet was stolen. The car is washed. In perfect tenses, we use have been, has been, had been. It has been solved. You have been fired. We had been sentenced to death. You have continuous tenses. Is being, are being, am being, was being. The car is being washed. Like I'll call you, say, where are you? Say, well, I'm in a car wash. My car is being washed. It means right now, at the time we are speaking, the workers are washing my car. My car is being washed. Soldiers are being killed, for example. Present continuous, have been being, has been being, is the continuous of the perfect. The car has been being repaired since last morning. The dishes have been being washed by the machine for an hour. Something like that. Okay, we talked about some sentences. All of them were affirmative, positive. What about negative sentences? You can simply add not to the verb be. For example, the car is washed. The car is not washed. Very simple. The car is not or isn't washed. The dishes have been being washed. The dishes haven't been being washed. They were invited. They weren't invited. So when we have modal verbs, we just negate the modal verb, like should. For example, he should be fired. He shouldn't be fired. But when you don't have, you just negate the be. The car should be washed ASAP. The car shouldn't be washed ASAP. They will be sentenced to death. They won't be sentenced to death. The class might be postponed. The class might not be. Interrogative sentences. Interrogative means questions. You want to ask some questions about something. Oops, I'm late. Don't worry, I'm recording, Maxi. I'm recording the class so you can see the recorded verb tomorrow. So don't worry. Rarely do the car get washed by me. Ed, get washed. But that's good. That's actually a combination of in version 2. Nice. Cookie. So you want to ask question. In order to make it, if you have modal verb, you make question with the modal verb. Otherwise, you make question with the verb be. The car should be washed now. Should be. You put should here. Should the car be washed now? Exactly. Should the car be washed now? My wallet was stolen. Again. Was your wallet stolen? So we change my to your because we changed the point of view. Like I'm asking you. So was your wallet stolen? Actually, up to here, up to this far, it was all about passive in simple words and for intermediate students. From now on, we will try to get one level higher and talk about something like upper intermediate or something advanced. Sometimes it's obvious. So imagine, first, let me ask you something. Is it rationally okay? Is it rational to say, I was fined for crossing a red light by a police officer? Is it rationally okay? Does it make sense? Logical. Is it logical? Is it okay? Let's say, is it okay? It makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. Rational. So, okay, let me write in this way. This sentence and this sentence. What are the differences? Let me ask you. What are the differences in meaning? For these two sentences. I was fined for crossing a red light by a police officer, and I was fined for crossing a red light. Do we have any differences in the meaning? Yes. What about the meaning? They are the same, exactly. So, who can fine people for crossing a red light? I have this question. Who can give tickets? Who can fine people for crossing a red light? Make a list, please. Make a list of people, of jobs that can fine you for crossing a red light. because the only person, ticket or warning. No, we're not talking about a warning or like a ticket. The point is something else. I can see a difference because the only person who would give you permission to cross a red light is a police officer. Exactly. Police officer, traffic. So all of them, we call them police. Like traffic patrol, I don't know, sheriff officers. All of them in general, they are law enforcement. For example, a doctor. Can a doctor, a surgeon, fine you for crossing a red light? Can a teacher, for example, can I fine you for crossing a red light? For example, I see you on the street. I say, "Oh, you crossed the red light. I fine you." Of course not. I cannot. The only person who can fine you is a police officer or other division related to law enforcement. So here, exactly, it's a specific job. So if you say I was fined for crossing a red light by a police officer, that's a bit. I mean, you know what I mean. That's not okay because you're actually repeating something. Exactly, we have repetition, and you're just saying something twice. Okay, I know the only person who can find it is a police. You don't need to say it. So it can help you in fluency that you speak better. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes in passive sentences, it is obvious who the subject is because that subject is the only person or thing that can do the action. I was fined for crossing a red light. Only a police officer can fine drivers for crossing a red light. The menu has been brought. So, for example, a doctor. A doctor brings the menu for you? No. A mechanic? No. I don't know. What about a garçon, a waiter, a waitress? Yes. So only a waiter or waitress, depending on the gender, brings the menu for you. So you don't need to say the menu was brought by a waiter because no one else would do that. So you should see, before you say that, you should see, do we have any other person in the world, any other jobs or person that can do this? What is the lesson? The passive voice. For instance, the passive voice. Can anyone else fine you for crossing a red light? No. So you don't need to say that. You need to think about it with yourself. So, for example, the menu. Who brings the menu normally? A waiter. The manager would never bring the menu for you. The waiter. But sometimes it's not clear. The car is now fixed. Okay, the car is now fixed. Who fixed it? A mechanic? Your father? Your brother? Your husband? Your friend? Your teacher? Yourself? Who fixed it? You cannot say exactly who. I was kicked out of my classroom. Exactly. Who kicks you out of the class? The teacher normally. So you don't need to say by my teacher. Yes. So, okay, who is the car fixer? I mean, just a mechanic or no? Maybe your father. Maybe your father is into, for I don't know, tuning or something like that. So he fixes it for you. Exactly. If you have the knowledge to fix a car, you can fix it yourself. So a car was fine. A car, I say fine. The car was fixed. So we have more than one possible answer for that. So it's not obvious. The room has been cleaned. So who cleaned it? The servant? I don't know. The worker? Your mother? Your brother? Your sister? Your wife? Your friend? Your roommate? Yourself? Who cleaned it? You have more than one answer. The clothes are washed. Who or what washed them? For example, your mother washed the clothes. Or maybe, I don't know, your father. Maybe your brother. Or maybe a machine washed it. So sometimes it's not obvious. But sometimes it is. It is better, still, if you say I was fined for crossing a red light by a police officer, this sentence is not false. That is completely correct. It's completely correct. It's just you had better, it's better that you Don't use it when it's obvious. It helps you to speak better with more, better skill. Yes. Today, gonna give you how. Okay. Okay. Who fixed it? Exactly. No. Who fixed it? The meat was cooked. Okay. For example, who cooked it? Maybe your mother, maybe your father, maybe yourself, maybe your something like that. So that was the point here. The last part of this, yeah. So have you ever seen some sentences with get, like I got lost, I got fired, maybe mostly like this, I got fired, she got fired. So what is this? What is get here? She got fired, they got fired, they got killed, he got murdered. What are these? It's extremely easy. Exactly, or something in general, like 90% of the situations that a waiter brings the menu. Maybe in a special occasions the manager brings it like he likes you, but generally, if you ask a kid who brings the menu, he would say a waiter. So that's the obvious part here. But get has some meanings. Yes, so I got fired. Which one? I got fired or I was fired? Can I say I got fired? Is it okay? Yes. Uh-huh. So let's use get instead of be. So we have something we call it get passive in English. The verb get can be used instead of the verb be. If and only if, or so someone talked about action and non-action. So you can only use get if and only if your next verb is active. Here I wrote active actually wrong. I mean action, like an action verb. Action verb. Okay? Action. So we cannot use get plus a stative verb, like a state verb, like see, love. You cannot say get loved. No. So as to make passive sentence, actually this is right doesn't make sense and it's not used in English. If we use get passive, and why to talk about a negative or undesirable, meaning you don't like, a bad event. And reflexive pronoun like myself, yourself, and we will talk about this part. So when you use get passive, it shows that it's undesirable, I mean it's bad. I got fired. I lost my job. That's bad. What's worse than this? So I can say I got fired. She got fired. Mostly we can say like that. Gets me fired, that's something else. That's causative. Gets me fired, that's causative. To reason, no, we have different meanings. The manager be me fired, no, we don't have it. I got promoted. Yes, again we can say I got promoted. That's something I do. Oh yeah, actually I forgot to tell you. Yeah, you can go to my website and download this PDF for free. English with Nimafar.com. English with yes. If you would like to have this PDF, because I also have some examples down here, like 30 examples and the review of this. If you would like to have this PDF, go to my website, then go to the PDFs page, find this and download. I have also other PDF there. And tomorrow you can see the video. I mean, I'm recording our class today. You can see the recording video tomorrow on my YouTube channel. So when you talk about a negative or undesirable event, I got fired, he got murdered, he got sick, and something like that. He got murdered. You can also use reflexive pronouns like myself, yourself, themselves to indicate, means to show the subject is partly responsible for the event. Like this one. They got themselves killed. Where is it? They got themselves killed by insulting the king. They got themselves killed by insulting the king. Also here we have a combination of causative too. But It means they insulted the king, so they are responsible for their death. The car got washed by the mechanic yesterday. The valet got stolen. She got fired. But here, look at the last one. What you went through cannot be imagined. Cannot get imagined, that's right. Because imagine is a stative verb. So cannot be imagined. So you use get plus action verbs. Let's get deeper into the agent. So by subject, we also call it the agent. It can be a pronoun, a name, a job title, a noun clause. The car has been fixed by a group of mechanics who work for free. That's a clause. The flowers are watered by Jack. That's a name. The room is cleaned by him. My car was fixed by a mechanic. Job title. So we can use different things for our agent. But other uses of the passive voice. So we can use the passive voice in scientific articles. Oxygen is consumed during the process of respiration in animals and humans. Chlorophyll is used by plants during the process of photosynthesis to produce glucose. So is used, is consumed. So we use the passive voice in scientific articles. In newspapers or news, suspect arrested in connection to murder of local business owner. Suspects got, they make it shorter, so suspect got arrested. They use the passive voice. Victim identified, or victim is identified in homicide investigation, police or public for information. So you can see it on news. And what's the meaning of org? What's the meaning of this word? Can't be reached? Why? Wait. English with. Are you sure? Can you open the website? Search it up. Is this type of get legal in scams or just informal? Mostly if you use get, that's not very formal. It's Victoria era writing, so some people eliminated they got, so to show that you're shocked. You can, yes, you can. Encourage, yeah, it means to ask people to do something. It's like the new hip. I ain't got no time, the trend. And let me tell you something. Don't rely on songs and movies, because that's not actually English. They try to, because they want to write some songs, so sometimes they need to change something or add something to fix the rhythm. So it's not exactly a good way to learn grammar with songs or movies. Or sometimes you see natives speak like she go. Okay, it's something okay, but grammatically she goes. So if you, for example, say, okay, in that movie the guy said she go, so I would say she go. I want to sound like a native. That's not exactly the way you can sound like a native. Yes. So that was actually everything about this part. And let me tell you something for writing like IELTS or something like that. There is actually, I have a video on my YouTube talking about how to write a formal letter. Formal letters. I said in that part that it's better to write something in passive. Like instead of saying I submitted the application, it's better to say the application was submitted by me. It's better to say like this, using the passive voice in writing when it is needed. It's really good and beneficial. So actually that was everything about today's class. So here is the example. If you want the examples, go to my website englishwithnimafar.com and you can download PDFs for free. So let me stop sharing this. So thank you everybody. Our class actually has just finished. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, please ask me. What is the website? I will send you the website here. So let me send it again, the whole thing. So this is my website. I also have a newsletter, weekly grammar newsletter. Every week I talk about and cover a tip for grammar. So it's englishwithnimafar.com. Then you go to the PDFs page, you download the PDF and other pages, something like that. So you must be one with English. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Others, invited others. Shah, thank you. And Price. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, please send me a message. And also, I would like to ask you something, guys. If you have 45 students here, I would like to ask you something. That would be great if you send me a message on Discord and give feedback. Like you give me feedback about your opinion, about your opinion about our classes. You say, okay, it's good, it's bad. I don't know. If I were you, I would do this. And then I suggest you use this, or no, it's really good. If you can, please send me your feedback, send me your suggestions, your opinions about the classes we have every week, because it's been a year. It has been, I think, more than a year that I have been hosting weekly classes actually here in this server. So I would like to know about your feedback. If you do it, that would be great. So thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Tomorrow you can see the class on my YouTube channel. So if you need more review, you can do that. But of course, you can search on YouTube and you can find better teachers explaining this topic. There are always better teachers out there. So, but the point is, don't give up on English. So thank you. Have a good week. Have a great week. See you all next week on Saturday, 6 p.m. And goodbye. Thank you, Thor. Goodbye.